intro music. Yeah! Woohoo!
Hey, Star Trek League of Men fans, are they releasing hints into the game? In fact, you probably didn't even notice that this happened because we talked about this in our live streams about a week ago that they had dropped a teaser video with a lot of neat information, but they didn't really share it out. They didn't let y'all know what was happening. Why? Well, we don't know. But with that in mind, if you go click on this, they have now added it into the videos tab where you can see it, the Villains Part 1 trailer. But interesting things are in this video, so I think it's worth sharing with y'all and talking about. We've done one of these years ago, kind of like throw that on the screen, where there are things that they've hinted at in trailers, different ships and content that did and sometimes did not make it into the game. But when they make something like this, I think it's worth taking a look at. And I'll be honest, as far as cinematic trailers and stuff goes, this is a heck of a lot better than what they did with Flashpoints. Like, yes, this is much nicer. We'll do a Flashpoints in terms of a cinematic. Let's look at it. Don't worry, you're not going to see much gameplay video in it, but I'm hoping that maybe we're seeing some hints at what could be coming into the game, which could be exciting if you're a Star Trek fan. If you're not, well, you know what? Stick around anyway because it helps the algorithm. Like the video if you haven't already. If you don't, you're a communist, and those people are bad. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to get out of that and power of the internet. We're going to rotate over, and we're going to watch it.
This was never about war. It was always about control. Chaos isn't spreading. It's being engineered. A new force rises, ruthless, manipulating and watching, pushing the galaxy to the brink of fall. Twisted by time, old grudges are reborn to deceive, align, betray. Go deeper into the web and discover the truth.
All right, so now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna mute it. We're gonna talk about key points that you may or may not have noticed while watching this. So number one, you saw Kai Wynn, who we've already seen in the game. She came out this month. She's one of the first villain officers right there. So we've already seen that. Speaking of officers, that's another one. Cool, I'm not gonna get too excited, but I am gonna get excited because I'm a Star Trek nerd about this. Why am I excited? You're like, that's just Gul Dukat. Nay, this is the Gul Dukat with the Pah-wraith inside of him. And if we're picking villains, maybe, I don't know, how do you view Gul Dukat? How do you view Gul Dukat? Maybe the best villain in Star Trek history. Good. He's right up there with Khan. Really, really good. So we've got that in there. Let's start back from the beginning, though. You're going to notice a lot of things you've seen before. Like, for example, this is just the Voyager screen being displayed. We've got a red alert on the Voyager screen. We're going to jump forward just a little bit further. What else are we going to find? Let's go ahead and hit the play. We've got a destroyed saucer section that I can't really tell if that's the NCC, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. We're going to worry about what we're going to see here in a couple seconds. The ships that are warping in. So number one, these are obviously the new hostiles that just rolled out this month. So nothing really crazy there. They're a reskin of a previously existing hostile, the bounty hunters in augment space. I will say this. This gives very much EVE Online vibes. It feels like very much a cinematic you would see from something like EVE. I don't know the reason that they just had to throw in the mining ships and stuff in here. Like, why are we having transports and a Romulan mining ship? I don't know, but let's continue on. Big one to warp in, though, that I think may be the biggest, possible hint of all right here. That is the Dauntless. I don't know if you've recognized it. We've seen it in 2 Star Trek shows so far. We saw it in Voyager, which would seem to apply to the villains theme. We've also seen it in Star Trek Prodigy. If you've not watched Star Trek Prodigy, I strongly encourage you to do so. I think that Prodigy is very good. It was aimed at preteens, but I really enjoyed it. Either way, it gives you more of the Trek lore of what's going on. We've got the Defiant right here. Over on the top right, you see a Voyager, and as it rolls through, you'll see other ships play in, like we'll see the Revenant. Obviously, this is, the ships that we just talked about being the new hostiles that have rolled out. But in terms of what this could mean, could this be the new ship that's coming into the game? Could these be the officers? For sure. By the way, top very here, Mantis, very much in your top left. You just saw a Mantis hull. We see an Enterprise right here, NCC 1701, no A. We've got the Revenant back here with a nice little firing. The Dauntless here in the back. We've got the Defiant again. So we're seeing some of the regular ships that we know are in the game, as well as models that we have not seen. Here we got a decloaking a couple of things. We've got decloaking legionaries. There's, again, why this? I don't understand. Like, I get the pylums and the gladius. Like, that makes sense, or the pylum right up there. Why are we warping to the front line transport ships? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, Centurions and Valdors, sure. Like, I can get it. Good animation. Why are we sending in mining ships? Do we just have to represent everybody? Is that what this is? Like, the poor PvE players are going to get mad if their cinematography doesn't have a mining ship included? Like, anyway. Also, why are they warping in so close together? How do they warp in knowing where the opponent's like perfectly at? We're just going to go nose to nose. And why are they always orientated the same way? All right, all those pointless questions aside, the main thing we gather from here is that it's hopefully a preview video of some of the cool stuff to come while telling the story of what they want to do with villains. For me, the big point is, well, is the ship going to come into the game? And are the officers going to come into the game? Or the people that we have seen? So when I say people we've seen, we're talking about the Kai Wynn we have, but I know I'm really focusing on one, the Pah-wraith Dukat, and what could tie into that. I think that's worth getting excited about. If you're a Star Trek fan, that is a key part of DS9 lore. But what about the USS Dauntless, which, by the way, for those who have never experienced the Dauntless, we'll use you head over to Memory Alpha, give you a little buzz on it. So the Dauntless from Hologram Janeway was a ship operated by Starfleet in the 21st century. Again, this is if you don't know the episode backstory, I don't think we have time to get into it, but point is, it is technically canon, and you also see it going after the Protostar, which is going to be from the newer show, Prodigy. But you'll see that it appears in multiple episodes, and again, this is pulled directly straight from the files. This is straight canon. They're not pulling ships out of nowhere. They're not designing it on their own. It's an actual thing. So with that in mind, I think that's really curious to see how that kind of comes in. You're going to see lots of references, I believe, into things like this. So I'm really excited about new Star Trek stuff. I'm not going to say I'm excited about all the new loops that come in, but in terms of actual Star Trek content, like, I am here. What got me in this game was Star Trek. To see actual items like the Dauntless being hinted at and Pah-wraith Dukat, that's pretty neato. And hopefully that's a preview. And I felt that that was worth talking about. And here's why. Because I believe that a lot of things in this game can easily become very negative based on how they play and stuff. But that doesn't mean there aren't cool things that if you're a hardcore Trek nerd, which most people are at the end of the day, there's some cool things that you can look towards. And obviously this video seemed to hint at the fact that the Dauntless would be fighting the new hostiles. Not that I really feel like the new hostiles need a ship to do that, but at the same time, I would actually really like the Dauntless in the same way that I like the Reliant. Like, I tend to align more with ships that were in Star Trek versus things that the game has made. And that doesn't make all things made being bad, but for example, why does Rev not have a Crozier? Well, because Crozier doesn't exist. Like, I don't have any attachment to it, even if it's a cool ship in the game. For those that don't know what the Crozier is, if you scroll on down here, you'll find a Crozier right. Yeah, that's tight. Went too far. You'll find the Crozier right here next to the Corvus. Like, so I don't get really excited because I don't have a connection to it. Same reason I don't really love the Sanctus, but at the same time, I love the Vorcha. I have a great connection to that. I mean, I like the Enterprise A. The Tribune's a great ship in game, but there's just some ships that you like ping on your wall. Like, I had to have all three of the Epics. Why? Because I grew up with them and they're so cool. Same thing with that. I'm excited about things that actually have Star Trek connections. Now the question is really, can Scopely pull it off? Like, can they make it good? Can they make it enjoyable? Because I also want to get the Akira and the Negvar, but we know that the 63 uncommons aren't that good in terms of actual gameplay. Like, I want to get the USS Titan, but how enjoyable? I mean, it's better than these 63s. And then eventually we get to the Epics where I love the Enterprise E. Wouldn't call it the meta currently, but certainly no Vengeance. But at least that's in the game now. So anyway, let me know what you think about this. I really do like Star Trek related stuff, and that's what gets me excited, like actual lore coming to the game. I hope they succeed. I hope the storytelling is good, and I hope that it actually has a use besides being a one-trick pony for new hostiles. But I bet most of you haven't watched it because that video doesn't have very many views. Let me know what you think. I'll catch you in the next one. Live long and plunder. Stay safe out there. Deuces. Catch you later.
An even better outro than the intro. For the Empire and glory to your house.